Are we heading towards Third World War? First Russia-Ukraine, then Israel-Palestine, then Lebanon. Iran attacked Israel with missiles, and then Syria down, Assad government has fallen. Problem in Myanmar, problem in Bangladesh. Is Russia-US greater conflict next? Will China take over Taiwan? Is nuclear war possible? When it will be confirmed that Third World War is really about to start? Is there any indicator? I will answer all your questions. First, we need to understand every war has its root cause hidden in economics. To understand today, we need to go back 100 years. 1929, the Great Depression. Big banks had fallen in the US. The effects were all over the world. Economic output shrunk, wealth destroyed. World economic balance was disrupted. At that time, Europe was already exhausted. It was impossible for them to maintain that kind of very big empire. European nations had already in a big debt. At that time, USA was not actually imperial. It was heavily industrialized and it was an emerging power. USSR, that is Greater Russia, was also got industrialized at that time, as well as Japan. So, USA, USSR, and Japan were emerging power at that time. And Europe was a declining power. So, European empire was about to end, and the empire of USA, USSR was about to start, and Japan's empire also. Emerging and declining power needed a restructure, a reconstruction. That reconstruction led into Second World War. It is the lesson of history that the rebalancing of power always required an armed struggle. It is not always required that emerging and declining power directly go to war against one another. War might happen between other countries. USA did not directly fought against Europe or Russia. Rather, Europe fought against each other. And USA benefited from that war. And at the end of the war, USA tried to suppress their next competitors, that was Japan and USSR. We may talk more about Second World War in later times, but right now we need to understand what is the current situation. Now USA has its own empire. USA become a big empire. Not exactly like European political empire, but empire in economic terms. A large percentage of global trade is done in US dollar. Dollar is not backed by gold. It's very important to understand. US can print money as it wants. That's why dollar is called a fiat currency. USA now has very large debt, more than 130% of its gross domestic product, that is GDP. And US is now a declining power. Japan is already aged right now. Japan's demography is heavily balanced towards above. So Japan is aged. Big debt also. Europe is essentially running on debt since 100 years and on immigrants. Now, who are the emerging powers? BRICS, heavily weighted towards China, India, and Russia. China and India is economic powerhouse, demographic powerhouse. Russia has a big nuclear arsenal, and Russia has large oil and gas reserves also. World need a restructure again. Will it happen without bloodshed? Unlikely. Unlikely. That huge stockpile of debt is everywhere. History tells us that the debt bubble has to be busted. And then comes economic depression, much bigger than 2008-2009 depression. That depression will create similar impact on world restructure like what 1929 did, and that upcoming depression will lead into war. China and US may not fight directly. Other countries will definitely fall among themselves, and US-China will back them. Exactly same is happening right now also. In Russia-Ukraine war, China and US backing them from behind. In Israel-Gaza also you have seen. In Bangladesh and Myanmar you are also seeing that US and China is fighting their pseudo war. So China and Russia has already formed a very powerful axis. And we also don't know when and where more war will break out. But we definitely know war will come in many countries, many places, in very near future. What will be the role of India at that time? India is a friend of Russia, sure. But India is competitor to China. So India is not directly in Russia-China axis. India also a general friend of US and Europe. So India may play a mediating role here. India may soften tension in the world. And doing that, India has a chance to increase its economy. It's time for India to prove its leadership, announce its presence, and get permanent membership in UN Security Council. India is in need of high-tech manufacturing industry, semiconductor chip designing, car manufacturing. India can get all these things by mediating and playing some important role in the time of conflict. We must not try to engage in direct conflict and direct war. So when WW3 will start, when the Third World will start, war will come, may not be a nuclear war, but large-scale non-nuclear war seems all set in many countries, in many fronts. You keep an eye on economy. When the economic depression will come, when you will see that GDP is shrinking, there is large job loss, there is large recession there, that will be a very good indicator that things are about to change. There is a second indicator, which is China taking over Taiwan. I will discuss more in later videos. As I understand, depression comes first, then China attacks Taiwan, then large-scale war breaks out. Economic depression, maybe in 1-2 years, 2-3 years. China attacking Taiwan, then you understand that it is the time. Maybe the best of times, maybe the worst of times. Only time itself can tell. I will keep updating. Thank you.